Good morning, everybody. This is Electrical Essence, and I am wanting to touch base on the subject of spirituality. And the reason why I wanted to bring this up as a topic, and actually it's not even on the top of my list of things for topics and discussions and everything that I've been preparing and planning out, but I was just thinking about it, and I've been actually dealing with it on so many different levels, not only in my own personal life, but also I can see it in other people's lives. I can see it through Facebook. I can see it through topics of discussion that I have with other people. I, it's written just all over everybody in some form of a way. And the reason why I say that is, I don't know, I guess I, if I look at it at a astrological point of view, there's a reason. If I look at it at a Melanie point of view, there's a reason. If I look at it from an electrical essence point of view, it's different. So I'll start with the most easiest for me. Now, one thing about being so deep into astrology and being an astrologer is knowing the transits, knowing the planets, knowing what is going on a collective, and also knowing what's going on an individual level. Now, I love the whole thought of consciousness being basically like a collective cloud, and we all kind of, go in there and dig around, just kind of like the Akasha Records. We go in there, it's like a big library, and we check out books, and some people don't know how to open the door, some people don't know how to access the drawers, and some people just sit outside the library and think it's just some place to hang out, but refuse to go inside and check out some fucking books. So, anyways, right now, going on in transit, we have a lot of planetary aspects going on that are just not only just profound, but they are super, super intense. And the one thing that stands out the most to me that really allows me to, I don't know, just link this all together is that we have Neptune in Pisces. Neptune is a co-ruler of Pisces. Neptune also rules Moon at some point in, like when you break it down in a numerology point of view, or looking at degrees, so, but anyways, and then Neptune also is a higher octave and a higher form of Venus. Neptune is that planet of spirituality. I like to joke and call it the Bill Cosby drunk planet because, Neptune, is, he's not that planet that people really, really think he is, to me anyways. Like, Neptune is the planet of spirituality, but he's also the planet of escapism. He's also the planet of shadowing. He's also the planet of sex, and it's also it's connected to the 12th house, and it's connected to Pisces. And Neptune being in its own sign right now, and it takes a very long time for these outer planets to orbit through the zodiac. And whenever those outer planets are looked at, whether it's Eastern or Western, because I do study Eastern and I do study Western, and I do have my own mathematical way of linking the two together. So with Neptune in Pisces, which is a sign it rules, right now it is retrograde, which means, it looks like it's moving backwards. And when the planet's retrograde, it's closer to the Earth. And also on a collective, when a planet is retrograding closer to the Earth, it makes you go within more. So a lot of it depends on your, your individual chart. But I do know, like, Neptune being in Pisces, that is vibrating on a mass level to that conscious cloud. And there is so much that it has just ignited when it got into Pisces. And it seemed like it was like a slow build. And so there are all kinds of things that just scream out from things vibrating off of that level of Neptune being in Pisces. Religion, just spirituality alone. People that are now starting to question not only their faith, but their belief in God. There are people that are finding their faith and finding their belief in God. There are people that are just trying to figure themselves out. There are so many people going through spiritual awakenings. There are so many people that are trying to awaken other people, into a spiritual awakenings. There are people that have been going through spiritual awakenings And it's just getting more deeper and more profound because, some people are doing the actual work and the actual work of spirituality. And this is all going to ride that fine line of being subjective and objective, okay? So, and just to put it out there, I can be very subjective and I can be very objective. So kind of bear with me. So anyways, so a lot of people are starting to see things in a different way when it comes to spirituality and comes to religion. Also, too, there was a lot of uproar. Like Neptune will cause a lot of uproar. Neptune will either put that veil in front of you or that cloud or that smoke, or he will completely remove it. So again, going back to individual charts, but on a mass level, that planet, it's a generational planet, and right now during this time period, it being in that final sign of the zodiac and a sign that it rules is it's just aspecting and illuminating just so much out there for us. So when I say I can see it from, let's say, a Melanie point of view, people that I talk to, there are people that I can talk to on such a deep, deep level, which is one of the ways I prefer to really connect with people, and I prefer to talk with people, also depending on the person. So when you're at that deep level of conversating with somebody, what are the things that come up? Death, life. Is there another, form of existence when we die? Or do I believe in spirits? Or do this and anything that just has to do with everything linked into spirituality and spirituality of self, spirituality of life, so, and a lot of people I talk to on that deep level are either going through a spiritual awakening, or I sense that there is a fight for that spiritual awakening. I also sense in a lot of people that they think they're going through a spiritual awakening, or they've been through one and they haven't. I've also, know that a lot of people are dealing with so much on the inside, that they don't want to open it up, or they don't want to share it. But and a lot of it's just because of that enclosed, mindset that a lot of people have, that they don't want to share certain parts of themselves or certain thoughts of themselves, because now we live in a world where, oh my God, if you think something different than me, or you believe in something different than me, or you're just anything, there's that fear of being judged, or that fear of being looked at in a different light or through new eyes. So, so a lot of people are dealing with some things on a very deep level, but keeping it in, like death. Death will do a lot of things to people. Death is death. That's why it's the tarot card of death or rebirth. It's has a lot to do with, having to not only deal with our own deaths, but also the deaths, like losing other people. So that too will just resonate deep in within people. And now when I talk to people that aren't on that like to go deep, or people that aren't, I don't know, people that don't have many layers to them, put it that way. Because some people are just, shallow. Some people are just not onion. Some people, you peel like 2 layers and that's it. They're just, okay, that's all that's to, yeah, all right, well, whatever. So even talking with people that don't go deeper, people that do, just kind of stay above the surface there, I can sense that there is something more, but they're not ready to go there, or their higher or lower self has not connected in a way to where they want to go there. So I also sense too that a lot of people have so many questions, and they've just don't know how to reach out, because of, again, everybody right now is just going through either their own shit or they're dealing with other people's shit, and they don't know how to process. So a lot of times it's just like that closed down, and then just that robotic mode, hi, how you doing, small talk, bullshit, but not really getting down to the core of it. Now, when I look at it from, let's say, electrical essence point of view, now this is going to be something that, this is going to be probably a little bit more subjective, because personally, when it comes to spirituality and dealing with other people with spirituality, I think that a lot of us don't know how to step outside the box and look at it, and some of us need to get out of the box, some of us need to go into the box. Um, but when it comes to my own personal beliefs of spirituality, it it has nothing to do with religion, has very little to do with the religion version of God, has very little to do with being an atheist. It's spirituality is about yourself, your soul, your progress through this life. It's your personal rim of reality. It's your own essence, it's your own vibration that you're dealing with. And it's also too being able to understand yourself at a level that is so deep in awareness that it just unlocks all these doors and windows in your brain and your mind, and you're just in your whole house of yourself, and you're able to feel the air differently, breathe the air differently, look at the sun differently, enter into other rooms of your mind and enter into other rooms of your house and view things differently. It has nothing to do with what other people think about you, has nothing really much to do about what you think of other people. I mean, when you're looking at, now this is on a very deep level now that I'm speaking. Spirituality is about you connecting to you connecting to yourself on such a level that you know yourself, and you're learning yourself, and you're open to new information, or you're open to reevaluating old information that you want to know more, you yearn for more, you want to fight against that whole ignorance of the ego, because let me tell you, so many people are so ego driven. And you know what, and there's nothing wrong with the ego. I don't care what anybody fucking says, there's nothing wrong with the ego. It's basically what you do with the ego, or how you operate on that ego. Now when people think of spirituality, they think, oh, you're supposed to be, that zen whatever, one with the earth and the Buddha-ness. No, that's not it. Okay. Now again, my own personal opinion. um Spirituality has, again, nothing to do what other people think of you or what you think of other people. It's yourself. So a person could be a drug addict, an alcoholic, a preacher, a teacher. Shit, they could be in all different forms of any type of religious labeling and still resonate with themselves on a spiritual level. Um, what somebody does in their actions, or what somebody thinks, or how somebody operates, or even just how somebody is, does not mean they are not a spiritual person. It does not mean they don't understand their own spirituality. And it does not mean anything that others want to label with. Spirituality is much deeper than that. Spirituality is, again, connected to your inner self on such a profound level. So, so it just depends on, looking at it. But I guess another thing that kind of brought me to the subject too is the whole spiritual awakening process. Spiritual awakening is a process that a lot of people will go through and then stop, go through and stop. Very, very, very close friend of mine who I love, and who is just right there, number one in my soul family. She talks about how, we go back to sleep, and she's right. Like a lot of us, we start to go through this process of spiritual awakening, or just awakening of the soul and awakening of the mind, and then we go back to sleep. And now that going back to sleep is that whole robotic mode of operating at a level to where you're not using higher levels of your brain, you're not connecting, you're not being aware, you're just going through the motions, or you're not paying attention to yourself, or you're just basically like operating between that shadow self and that light self, and you're not that consciously aware. And so many people are operating at that level, that robotic level, to where they don't know how to step outside of themselves to look at themselves. So, and that's a very hard process. A lot of people don't want to do. A lot of people are scared. So many people are scared. And the reason why I say so many people is I know this personally. I understand this personally on such a deep level, because I have been experiencing spiritual awakenings since I was very, very young. Um, there are rhymes and reasons to who I am and to my whole essence. And I always tell my boyfriend Shane, I tell him, I was like, there's a method to my madness. And, I tell to other people, there's a method to my madness. There is a whole level of this craziness within that actually is organized and formulated out in a way that if I tried to explain it to you, your brain would fucking explode. I don't do or say anything without some type of deeper meaning or some type of cause or some type of depth. I try not to operate at that robotic level to where, I'm just going with the flow of life or, and another form of like that robotic flow is like when you have that conversation, that surface talk, like, hey, how you doing in life, and bullshit, gossip, and I don't care what anybody says about the talking shit. We all talk shit. And you know what? And it's absolutely perfectly fine to talk some shit because, for one, it releases a lot of energy that you need to get rid of. It is also a way of being able to make light of a situation or make make light of a person. It just depends on what you're talking shit about. Also, too, it's a way to verbalize, things that are going on in your mind, like, what your lower mind or your higher mind's thinking, and also too, it's communication is so important, and communication on levels of writing, talking, um, blogging, there's just, you know, we need to communicate, to be able to understand because that's how we learn. That's how we grow, and part of spiritual awakenings and part of becoming more spiritually aware is also being aware of yourself and also being able to take in criticism, also to be able to ask questions, not only to yourself, but to other people, because there's like that whole saying, if you hear it 3 times, it might be true, you know, um, and and I've always tried to pay attention to that my whole life. Whenever if I hear something 3 times, especially when it's something that has to do with myself, because I will battle a motherfucker when it comes to them trying to describe who I am or what level that they feel that I vibrate or operate at, depending on the person, because again, I can be very passive aggressive. I can be very subjective. I can be very objective. Now, if it's somebody who I know knows me, if it's somebody that I have let in on a deep into my heart and deep into my mind and deep into that comfort of my personality, then yes, I'm going to sit there and I'm going to listen to how they feel or what they think of me, you know, in terms of through their eyes or what they see or what they may question or what they may, just be, piecing together. Now, if it's somebody that I know does not know me, and if it's somebody that I know has never got to meet the depths of who I am and who has never had the privilege or the honor or the right to my loyalty of vibrating at such a close bonded soul level, that motherfucker can go take a hike. Okay. I don't want to listen to anything that you have to say about me. I don't care about anything you have to say about me. Your opinion of me does not matter. And your opinion of me is really none of my fucking business, but you trying to make it my business. I'm sorry, I don't want it to be my business. So just go ahead and leave the fucking shit on the door, but go. So that's kind of why I can be so overprotective of myself. But again, I can also be very open to criticism because it depends on who's criticizing me. I have a huge, huge issue with authority, but I also have a huge respect for authority. And when it comes to an authority figure, my judgment and my perception of an authority figure is somebody who is a very, very objective based person who is going to flex their authority in a way that is even keeled, that's just all the way across the board. Somebody who is fair and somebody who understands that level of authority that they hold. So whenever I come across authority figures and I start seeing little glitches or little weak, spots in their chain, because I'm sorry, but you're only as strong as your weakest link. And whenever I see an authority figure operating on a more subjective level, then that that kind of pisses me off. It's like, hey, no, you cannot do that, because if you're going to be that way with everybody and then turn around and be a certain way with other people, or if you're going to take your own personal butthurt feelings or your own personal butthurt perspective of things and use that to authorize over somebody else, I have a problem with that. I have a huge problem with that. So, and again, it just depends on if this is work related, if it's, I don't care if it's a cop, a judge, a doctor, whoever, any type of person who resonates at that authority type level. Because, sometimes we just have to deal with authoritative type of people in our lives. I mean, our parents, we even have friends that are, I know I'm an authoritative friend. I try not to be, but I'm working on it. When you're in the hospital and you're dealing with doctors, it's so much stuff, mixed together. And another thing that I've noticed with spirituality is some people just don't get it. Just don't get it, and they don't understand it. Spirituality, to me, now this is my own personal opinion, and I also want to note too, a lot of times I don't share my personal deep thoughts about things. I just will share information. I have a third house activation, so I can be very Gemini-like and very Mercury-like when communicating with others. And what I mean by that is I can talk about things, I can bring up subjects, but it doesn't mean that it's connected to me emotionally, or that I may even have any emotional opinions or linkage or values or morals into it. That is something that I've learned, over the years, to where being able to talk about certain things and being able to share information, does not always have to be influenced through emotion. Now, it depends on who I'm talking to too, and there are things that I'm very passionate about, and I might be able to talk about something very passionately, but it doesn't necessarily mean I believe in it, and doesn't necessarily mean that I have any emotional ties to it. Okay, so when I say a lot of people have it wrong, this is coming from my perspective, is they automatically want to throw spirituality into a box. They want to put it in a little box with religion and philosophy and everything else, and then they want to slap some labels on it. When a person is trying to be spiritual or going through a spiritual awakening, one of the first processes that or maybe not the very first, but in that process, is shedding of the labels, shedding of programmed ways of thinking, shedding that lower self, shedding negativity that is not necessary, because there is negativity that is necessary. We are very dualistic people, we're that yin yang, we're that light and that dark. So it's cutting yourself down to a core of nothing and rebuilding yourself from there. And a lot of people think, are trying to go through a spiritual awakening, or trying to understand it, and they need to not only read up on the information, but they also need to learn how to listen to themselves. And they also need to understand when there's information being shared, or information that is like coming in your way, you should always look at it, just at an open mind. And then whatever resonates with you, it resonates with you. It's trying to basically help you along that process. Now, if you don't, look at things or understand things from outside of yourself, and then you're always going in and in and in, then that's when you start operating on all that, you can get so lost and wrapped up into yourself, so it's always good, to not only do your outside homework, but your inside homework, understanding things on both levels, being open-minded. There's so many spiritual people out there that are not open-minded, let me tell you. There's a lot of people out there that are just being religiously just bashed, and religion and spirituality are two different things. Religion is believing in somebody else's beliefs. Spirituality is believing in your own beliefs. But part of that awakening is learning your own beliefs, so. And also, part of, spiritual awakenings is sometimes it's a process that can't be done alone. It cannot, because, like, again, that outside information, that and it's also too learning about what has been programmed, what has been brainwashed, what has been shoved down your fucking throat, or what's been, basically, just dropped in there, and doesn't resonate with who you are. So there's just so much more to it. And one thing for me personally, when it comes to spiritual awakenings and walking down that road, I found myself, and I started going through, I would have to say, my most recent awakening and my most recent journey down the rabbit hole. And this rabbit hole is a lot different than the other rabbit holes, but there's a really disgusting inside joke that goes to that rabbit hole. Brandy, you know what I'm talking about. So anyways, it's going through, for me personally, going through that spiritual awakening, I've had to do a lot of reevaluating. I've had to do a lot of shadow work. I've had to do a lot of looking in on myself. And I found that there was lots of hints, there was lots of clues, there was a lot of people that were not only just teachers, not only just, it's kind of hard to describe, not teachers, and some were lessons. Oh my God, yes, I had many people that were lessons. And I've had just so many red flags and so many clues, just especially just in like the last, I'd have to say 19 years, because I know that about 18, 19 years ago, I went through an awakening. And when I say go through awakening, that's like a level of awareness. And, in spiritual awakening, if you're not looking at it at a religious point of view, but you're actually looking at it at like an internal self point of view, spiritual awakening, or going through a spiritual process, is learning how to connect the lower mind to the higher mind, the lower self to the higher self. And it's all about awareness of your vibration, awareness of how your actions affect others, and how others' actions and their words affect you. Learning how to filter things correctly, and learning when you're being triggered, or learning when you're triggering others, learning that sometimes you are the fucking bad guy, and learning that sometimes you are the piece of shit, So it's like, and again, some people are so afraid to do certain depths and certain levels of their awakening. They get so far and then they stop, and then they, it's just, and I went through this myself. I go through a level, and I get, and I get there and I start going through, and then I go back to sleep, it seems like, or I stop at that level, not knowing that when it comes to your mind is infinite. The world is infinite. Your soul is infinite. Information is infinite. Wisdom is infinite. It's like, your brain is so, so, so profound that we forget that it is a universe. You are a universe within a universe. You are that galaxy flowing. You are that black hole. You are those stars that are shining. So, and a lot of people don't give themselves enough credit to look past the whole, oh, I'm human, or they don't give themselves credit into knowing their own strength. And a lot of people don't know where to start, or don't know how to reach out for help. And a lot of that is correlated to why I became an ordained minister. One reason why I became an ordained minister was, for marriage purposes. When I got asked to marry somebody, that just tickled me pink. I just loved it. And then it just started connecting to other things and other experiences that I had in my life, dealing with other ordained ministers, and dealing with ministers in general, and dealing with religion in general. And I thought, you know what? With all the information that I know, and for all the schooling that I've done, and the spiritual work that I've been doing, and let me tell you, when I say spiritual work, I have been doing spiritual work on myself, my life, my whole perception. I've been deep into it. It's been started around February of 2016. So it's been it's been over a year, and when I say doing spiritual work, I'm talking like daily, every day, all the time. I mean, it's not just talking the talk, it's walking the walk. It's also, just being able to vibrate at a higher level, and that higher level of consciousness, that higher level of knowing. And so doing the spiritual work, and becoming an ordained minister, I came to realize that I need to, for one, be able to understand my power of influence through knowledge and knowing, and also to my educational background, also to my personal background, and knowing people and knowing myself, and being able to bond with people on such a level to that, me wanting to be a life coach for years. Like, I life coaching came into mind, in my late teens, early 20s. That was something that I've always been so passionately, like, just connected to and wanting to do, and then when I realized that, oh shit, I do life coaching all the time. I'm life coaching people all the time. Some people at a very close level, some people at a different, different level. And some people, they come to me, and trusted me. And so it's like I thought, there's so many people out there that hate religion. There's so many people out there that hate dealing with anything that has to do with the Bible or God or anything, So, and with me, I'm very open-minded, and I'm very diverse in how I speak with people and how I bond with people and how I connect with people. And I'm also able to counsel people in a way that is not off of my own personal programming, and it's not off of me trying to get them to be a certain way, or to see things and to understand things in a certain way. I like to counsel in a way that I bond with that person to where I'm helping them help themselves. I'm helping them know themselves, and any type of information or anything that I share with them is always done from a level of pure heart. And also too, I've been able to speak with people on a level that I guess you can call it being, I have a way of disarming people. I have a way of dealing with aggressive people. I have a way of dealing with people with psychological issues, and I have a way of dealing with people who don't know how to eat the crow. You just eat the fucking crow. Just eat the shit pie that you baked, and you need to swallow it and just taste it, And sometimes, so it's all about helping others, and a lot of ministers and priests and religions have totally steered away from that, and it's all about other bullshit, So I have very mixed feelings when it comes to religion. And also too, I've studied religion pretty much my whole life. I started reading into stuff since I could pretty much read. So being an ordained minister, I'm an ordained minister of spirituality, and the level of spirituality that I like to dabble in is the spirituality of self. Now, there are tools, there are information, there are so many different things out there that can assist people, but it's just being able to find what resonates with a person, and my go-to has always been astrology. I found myself through astrology. I found so many things through astrology, and astrology is very spiritual based. And I never knew this when I first got into astrology and the zodiacs and all that, but the deeper you go into astrology, the deeper it takes you into spirituality. And the deeper I went down that rabbit hole, the closer I got to understanding the awakening process, understanding my shadow self, understanding my dark self, understanding that there is more than meets the eyes, even when looking at myself, because if you want to open up the kingdoms of heaven, you must know thyself. If you want to do anything that has to do with unlocking the keys and the mysteries of the world, and unlocking the secrets of vortexes and different realms of reality and the veil, you have to fucking know yourself. Okay, I'm sorry, it boils down to that. And to go through a true spiritual awakening, you have to do the work. And not only do you have to do the work, you have to look into your shadow side. You have to look into your demons. You have to take those little fuckers out and dance and play with them a little while. Figure out who they are, what their names, what did you do, how did you affect me, what have I done through the influence of you to other people? What shit do I need to hold myself accountable for? What shit have I been blaming on others? What shit have I actually piled into this whole world of my own existence, of everybody else, and just walked away? No, it's time to clean up your fucking shit. So, I don't know. I just have a really hard time, dealing with people who are just blinded to themselves. And I have a hard time dealing with people who totally do not see their shadow selves. And I have a hard time dealing with people who do see their fucking shadow selves and just don't give a fuck, And it's like, and then they try to play it off that there is no shadow self. And then also too, I've love working with people, and I love dealing and communicating with people and helping people, or shit, sometimes I have to reach out for help, for certain things. And so I love being able to work with people who are spiritually awakened or going through that awakening process, and I can get down really, really deep into the depths of life and death and the world and God and the devil and labels and negative and positive and everything. And another thing too that really pisses me off about spirituality and people being fucking ignorant to it is spirituality, again, people put in a little box like religion, is not about being that happy and positive and you're smiling in everybody's fucking face like a fake phony just plastic bitch. No, spirituality is about knowing both sides of that polar stick, okay? That good side, the bad side, the light, the dark. It's like a fucking battery. Positive side, negative side, And if you're always resonating or always projecting out that whole level of just like you're that positive, happy-go-lucky person and all that, and nothing ever pisses you off, and you never bring yourself to your lower self, and you just, go home and just tear shit up, or say things or do things that are shitty or negative, then you're fucking fooling yourself. And a lot of us see through the fucking mask, and you need to fucking get over yourself, and you need to fucking take off that fake, phony, positive fucking mask and deal with your fucking demons, okay? That's all I ever ask of anybody, especially anybody that I'm dealing with on a personal level, anybody that I'm dealing with on a friend level, anybody that I'm dealing with on a soul bonded level, is don't bullshit me on your positive level, because it's not all about being positive. We all have a dark side. We all have a negative side. We all have those little demons in there that just fuck with us, So that's part of the reason why I have a hard time with religious people, because they like to pretend that in their righteousness that they do no wrong or they are no wrong. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. We are all human. We are all sinners. And we've all done some fucking shitty things in our lives. We've done some shitty things to other people. We've done some shitty things to our kids. We've done some shitty things to our partner, to our parents, and it could be something on a very small level, or it could be something on a mass level. But don't bullshit yourself and bullshit other people in that whole level of that positiveness. Okay? Now I can understand that you want to project out positive energy, and I understand that you want to vibrate at that higher level with positive energy. But again, it's you can't have one without the other. You can't have God without the devil. You cannot have mom without the dad, and you cannot have sperm without the egg. Okay, so you need to just understand that. And when I say you, I mean people who are out there, possibly getting ready for their awakening, or in the peak period of their awakening, or confused in their awakening, or lost in their awakening. Because again, I've been through it. I've been through it over and over again, and my higher self has totally, totally lit my ass on fucking fire, and my lower self has completely fooled me. So I know, I've been there, and being an ordained minister and being able to minister somebody, or being able to mentor somebody, you have to be able to be honest, not only with yourself, but with that person that you are dealing with, because then you know that they see you for who you are, and not who you want them to see you as. And that's another spiritual thing too. That's part of that spiritual work, is you cannot always try to project out this image that's not who you are. Now, I understand that we have masks. I understand that we have different levels of relationship with people. And I understand that, you know, some people know you, some people don't, you know. And like with me, I think it's a privilege and an honor to be able to know who I am on that level. I think it takes a form of soul bonding for me to let you in. I'm sorry, but you are not going to bring your dirty ass feet into my fucking house. So we need to do some little conversating out here on the front porch, you know, before I'm going to let you in, you know. So yeah, you might see so much here on the surface and wondering what's there behind it. And I will gladly let you in, but you're not coming in my house with dirty fucking feet. You are not coming into my world pretending to be something that you're not, you know, and you're not going to come in and corrupt my whole world of existence because you don't know who you are, or you do know who you are, but you're hiding it, you know. So I'm very shielded up, you know, and just full of walls when it comes to protecting myself. And that is a form of protection. It's a protection of being hurt. It's a protection of dealing with monsters. It's a protection against sociopaths. Because let me tell you, I've dealt with monsters, sociopaths, psychotics. I've dealt with people with multiple personalities. I have dealt with a lot of hurt and pain dealing with other people, and I've caused hurt and pain dealing with other people, you know. So where I'm at right now in my level of existence is I need to know who you are, and you should want to know who I am. If you don't want to know who I am, then you cannot operate with me on that deep level. This
Good afternoon.
is a topic of discussion that I am very passionate about, and this is a topic of discussion that I would love to be able to speak from the heart and speak from my mind. And it's also a topic that some people don't know how to really get deep into, but the ones that do know how to get deep into the topic, the ones that do understand the level that I'm operating at, those are the people that I just love being able to discuss this subject with. And this is also one of those subjects where it's always nice to be able to hear others people's perspective and other people's thoughts and opinions, because again, when it comes to spirituality, it's about the spirituality of self. Well, I want to thank you for joining me on another broadcast and listening to my little rant and my opinion, and also to my experience with spirituality. This is a very deep rabbit hole, and so whenever you see any topics with the rabbit hole, a lot of times it is in correlation to spiritual awakenings or spiritual topic related type of things. Sometimes I may not use the word spiritual, but it all resonates in one. And I do want to thank everybody that does take the time to listen to my broadcast. It means a lot to be able to share the different levels and the different depths of my mind, and also to be able to share parts of myself that I don't really broadcast out. And this has been a really nice little journey for me to be able to basically blog verbally instead of typing and having to worry about my perfectionism and everything when it comes to just making sure everything is perfect. And by being able to verbalize what's on my mind, it's a flow. So, and it's also teaching me to slow down and also to be aware of how I speak, because I do, you know, I'm one of those, I can talk really fast or I can get really worked up, and you know, so it's a learning process, and it's a melody process, it's a essence, it's an individual process, it's a group process, it's so much that it's just vibrating on such a unique level that this has been one of the highlights of all the projects that I've been working on over the past couple of years. So thank you very much for tuning in. This is Electrical Essence, and enjoy your day. And also to enjoy the 0 degrees moon and sun moving into Leo. I love Leo, and it's also another way of, letting us know it's summertime, it's heat, and we better enjoy it because we're all going to be bitching about the cold soon. So, again, electrical essence, enjoy your day.